morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here is your detailed Australia-wide weather forecast for Saturday the 17th of May 2025. A lot to crack through today, plenty of showers and storms over on the east coast with falls up to 100mm last night into southeastern Queensland, and a lot more heavy rainfall still to come for the northeast of New South Wales, down onto the mid-north coast and into the Hunter region of New South Wales, with a potential east coast low developing early next week. If you are brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing, but let's get stuck straight into things this morning with a look at the radar and satellite imagery where you can see plenty of showers and just messy weather, generally speaking, moving through the southeast of Queensland, now pushing out into the Coral Sea and into the Tasman Sea, so conditions will begin to fine up across the central Queensland and the southeast Queensland area. Still a few showers lingering into the northeast of New South Wales, with a few bands of rainfall expected throughout the remainder of this morning and into early this afternoon, but generally speaking, weather clearing up there as well, and it should actually be a partly cloudy to even a mostly sunny afternoon across southeast Queensland and into the northeast of New South Wales. It will be humid and there will be a few showers lingering for some locations, especially around the coastline, but for the most part the weather will clear up and it will be a little bit more pleasant in those regions. In the wake of some pretty healthy rainfall accumulations as well, through areas into southeast Queensland, widespread falls between 40 to 60mm into the immediate southeastern corner of the state, again where we said the heaviest rainfall would be. Goondiwindi, Wollongara and Warwick yesterday were expected to be the ones that picked up the most rainfall, and again they were. Out further inland between Rolleston, Injune, across towards Tambo and Augathella, falls between 10 to 40mm out there, with one such weather station picking up 110mm outside of Injune overnight, so there have been some healthy rainfall accumulations here and there. Now let's look at the forecast, because there is some rainfall on the cards and some pretty serious accumulations at that. You can see that this is now the remnants of the low pressure system that moved down the New South Wales coastline yesterday, drawing this moisture deeper out into the Tasman Sea, and that's expected to be it. It's going to be pretty much done, and then we're going to see another band of moisture sweep up from the south, and this is what's going to develop into our next low pressure system, which is expected to be a severe weather event with the potential for an east coast low developing off the New South Wales coastline. That's going to be after some snow, and some wet snow is expected across some of the higher elevations across New South Wales and Victoria later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. It could get down to as low as 1200 metres, so it certainly is going to be cold, and that is again going to be powered by that high pressure ridge pushing in the moisture from the southern parts of the Tasman Sea north along the New South Wales coastline, so it is just going to be that wintry weather stuff that's going to come through from tomorrow morning throughout much of the New South Wales coastline, with heavy showers, possible small hailstones here and there, and very cold temperatures expected developing for locations across the southern areas of New South Wales from tomorrow morning, and then into the mid-north coast sort of region around Sydney, and then further north towards Gosford and Newcastle later on tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow night. And this is going to wrap itself up into the expected low pressure system / east coast low through early Monday morning. You can see really getting it sacked together through Monday morning into Monday afternoon. Classic weather for this time of the year for the New South Wales coastline. Again, absolutely nothing to be worried about whatsoever. Now, the point that I would just like to illustrate here is that there is a lot of talk that this could become an east coast low type system, and whilst it is going to resemble one, at least on how it's going to feel with the heavy rainfall, the damaging winds, the large seas, etc., etc., it's certainly going to feel like an east coast low for a lot of locations along the New South Wales coastline. It isn't actually going to be the dictionary definition of an east coast low. So again, just to define an east coast low, we're talking about a concentrated subtropical low pressure system that funnels ashore plenty of rainfall winds. It's basically an extratropical cyclone slow moving situated offshore from New South Wales. They are unique to New South Wales and southeast Queensland, but this system here is not going to have a defined low pressure system. It's basically just going to be a highway of moisture streaming into the New South Wales coastline, wrapping around a very broad mid-level low pressure system, and as such we're not going to be seeing that concentrated east coast low activity, but again it is going to feel like one, so for all intents and purposes you can think of it as going to be an east coast low. It's going to bring some heavy rainfall from Monday morning, which is going to slowly creep up the New South Wales coastline before remaining stationary along the mid-north coast between Gosford up through Newcastle, Forster and north towards Taree between Monday afternoon and evening. The rainfall continuing to pile on and stream into this region of New South Wales through Monday night into early Tuesday morning before it slides down the coastline a little bit, and a few showers expected to extend south towards Sydney and Wollongong through Tuesday afternoon and evening, before the rainfall is expected to continue to pick up through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning before it actually develops into a low pressure system through Wednesday and into Thursday, and then draws itself back down towards the south. So again, a very complicated low pressure system. It's got quite a meaty forecast, that's for sure. Just to recap that in summary, we're expecting that heavy rainfall to be streaming into the New South Wales coastline between Monday and Tuesday, somewhere between Sydney, Newcastle and Gosford and up towards Taree and Forster, with the heaviest falls expected between Newcastle up towards Forster around the Barrington Tops. This rainfall is then going to, through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, slide down towards the south, towards Sydney and Wollongong, where heavy falls can be expected into the Sydney and the Wollongong area through Wednesday morning into Wednesday afternoon. Heavy to locally intense rainfall is also expected into the southeast corner of New South Wales before this system develops into what's probably going to be able to be constituted as an east coast low through Tuesday morning and afternoon, and then that slides it back down towards the New South Wales coastline and really slams some heavy rainfall into the southeast corner of the state. This region of New South Wales, no stranger to heavy rainfall, especially at this time of the year as well, but Thursday and Friday definitely going to be a day to look at right now very closely on the forecast, because this system here looks like it is going to be packing a bit of a punch, that's for sure. And again, just to recap that and compare that to other forecast models, there is now a general consensus that we're going to see a pretty tight low pressure system develop offshore from New South Wales between Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. The forecast models still some pretty big discrepancies between exactly where said low pressure system will develop. If I had to put my money on it right now, it's probably going to happen around the Wollongong and the Ulladulla area, especially if it does develop a little bit further south than where the general consensus is right now. So down around the Ulladulla or the Narooma area, we will likely see a pretty significant rainfall event develop for the southeast of New South Wales. But again, it is just a little bit too early to tell at this point in time. So I'm going to think of this as this low pressure system having two parts. The first part, which is Monday and Tuesday, where heavy rainfall is expected to be around the more central parts of New South Wales, and the rainfall will be heavy, that's for sure, between Forster down towards Gosford. Widespread falls between 100 to 150 millimetres expected along the coastline, with isolated falls out to the Barrington Tops potentially as high as 200 millimetres on the forecast now for these regions here. Very heavy fall suggested by the convective forecast models as well, with rainfall accumulations up to 300 millimetres. I think 300 millimetres is definitely going to be pushing it for just Monday and Tuesday. Heavy falls are expected, and we will have some sustained heavy rainfall at some point through this region of New South Wales, which could give way to 6-hourly rainfall accumulations between 100 to 150 millimetres. But at this point in time, 300 millimetres definitely is a big shot to call from the Access G3 forecast, and I don't think that that is going to come into fruition. There is a flood watch out, and I probably should have mentioned this a couple of minutes ago, but there is a flood watch currently out for the Hunter region and the mid-north coast region as well. So the Bureau of Meteorology also expecting some reasonably heavy rainfall in this region as well. And then back to the European forecast, which has proved to be the most accurate. The second moving part of this is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. So again, these 4-day rainfall accumulations as well expected to be quite heavy down into the southeast corner of New South Wales. Now, because this low pressure system is going to be moving around, rainfall is not expected to be sustained for any longer than about 12 to 16 hours or so, and as such the rainfall accumulations do appear to be quite a lot tamer, with falls between 50 to 150 millimetres expected south of Sydney down to Ulladulla, Batemans Bay, Marimba, and then down towards Malakuta as well along the New South Wales and Victorian border, with the peak falls expected to be as high as about 150 millimetres into some of the more mountainous regions further inland. Rainfall accumulations here from the eastern WF aren't exactly as extreme as what the other forecast models have been suggesting either, and again, if we cross-reference that with the rather bullish Access G3 forecast, if we do see it situated just offshore, even for any amount of time, there is a chance that we see rainfall accumulations between 150 out to about 250 millimetres. So we will have to watch this very closely indeed. There is some pretty serious rainfall on the cards for parts of New South Wales, and you can see that quite clearly now with 10-day rainfall accumulations looking quite beefy for the New South Wales region, and it doesn't really matter what forecast model you look at this point in time, there is regardless going to be some very significant rainfall accumulations along much of the central and then into the southeastern or even the northeastern New South Wales coastline, but there is a much higher chance of the rainfall being heavier down into the southeast corner of New South Wales. Interesting stuff, that's for sure. Any questions or comments on it, please do let me know in the comment section down below, but this is definitely going to constitute severe weather, so make sure you are playing it safe, playing it cool, calm and collected around the New South Wales areas as well, especially around the coastline. Hazardous surf conditions as well is expected, so we're not recommending any shore-based or marine-based activities across the New South Wales coastline, obviously for the next week or so at least, before those conditions do begin to calm down. And like I said, that flood watch currently in effect for the Hunter region and the mid-north coast, so again, make sure you are remaining vigilant if you do live in a flood-prone area. Like I said, any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll help you out there. That's enough for New South Wales. It's definitely where the most significant weather is going to be happening, at least over the next 10-day period as well. You can see across Queensland not expecting anything really significant in the way of rainfall. Even the European forecast not suggesting anything in the way of significant rainfall expected across anywhere around Queensland for the next 10 days. Rainfall does begin to pipe up towards the end of May, and again, that does boil back to what we have talked about in some previous forecasts as well over the last week, that we are going to be heading into a bit more of an active period sometime between the 25th out to about the 30th of May, and we could be seeing some widespread shower and thunderstorm activity through the Coral Sea, which could lead to some shower and thunderstorm activity across far northern reaches of Queensland as well. There have actually been rumbles, especially on the very long range forecast from the GFS forecast, which I would always take with a very heavy pinch of salt, but with the Madden-Julian Oscillation peaking in the Philippine Sea sometime in early May, we can see a resurgence into late May rather and early June. We can sometimes see a resurgence in tropical activity across the Coral Sea. That's sometimes why we get some heavy rainfall through late May and into early June across far north Queensland, because because that's when the Western Pacific typhoon season begins to kick up. And when we see the Madden-Julian Oscillation peak into the Western Pacific into late May and early June, we can see plenty of moisture dragged up from those trade winds through the Coral Sea into far north Queensland. And then, of course, that goes to the PNG region as well and through the Solomon Sea. And whilst, again, we're not expecting tropical activity, no tropical lows, rainfall depressions, rainfall events, nothing like that, we will likely see an enhancement of moisture between the 25th or the 26th of May out to maybe the 2nd or the 3rd of June at this point in time. But an enhancement in moisture this time of the year generally doesn't mean any more than about 150 millimetres of rainfall coming through for the Cassowary Coast in a week-long period. And, of course, much less rainfall expected, generally speaking, across far north Queensland as well as we get into the longer range forecast. But yeah, certainly something to be taking, I guess, with a grain of salt at this point in time, but certainly something to be keeping in the back of your head with the potential for some moisture resurgences across far north Queensland between the 25th out to the 30th of May at this point in time. And finally, some good news for Western Australia and then by extension South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania as well. There is a little bit of rain relief now coming through in the next 7 to 10 day forecast period. So let's start things off, keep it a bit simpler. Over the next 10 days, we're not really, or over the next 5 days rather, it's getting a bit closer than that now. We're not expecting any rainfall powered by that massive high pressure system in the Great Australian Bight at this point in time, but there's no rainfall or showers to be talking about until a weak cold front comes through Monday morning for the southwest Capes, but that's not expected to make itself up into the Perth area. And then through Monday night, very quickly a high pressure ridge begins to build. 1,035 millibars as well. It's expected to be a strong one. And then finally, it looks like around the 23rd or even the 24th of May, the weather breaks for the southwest of Western Australia with a reasonably strong cold front coming through Friday the 23rd of May, and that will bring some showers extending through the southwest Capes through Friday night into early Saturday morning. Showers actually expected to be quite widespread across the southwest of Western Australia through Friday and into Saturday. Very good news indeed. And then much later on into the forecast period between the 28th and the 29th, a massive cold front is now on the forecast here. This one with a central pressure of 993 millibars. Yeah, it's really starting to get quite intense, that's for sure. This has been a feature on the last couple of forecast runs from the Eastern Weather forecast, but you can see there are still some discrepancies between other major forecast models. But it definitely looks like we're now in for a pretty strong cold front coming through sometime between the 28th of May out to about the 30th or the 31st of May at this point in time. And this one again does look rather set in stone at this point in time. Definitely what I'd constitute to be the winter opener, which will bring 25 millimeters of rainfall to a wide swathe of regions of places around the southwest region of WA, and that could also mean between 10 and 15 millimeters of the Wheatbelt region as well, entirely the Wheatbelt region, so everywhere from north to south, east to west in the Wheatbelt. So some good rainfall is now on the cards there as well, and you can see 14-day rainfall accumulations from the Eastern Weather forecast now looking really healthy across the southwest of Western Australia. And I won't get too far into detail because it's still quite a long way out into the future for South Australia, Victoria and Tasmania, but some better rainfall accumulations now on the cards through this region too. And whilst again it isn't really reciprocated between forecast models, I can pretty much guarantee on the run towards the end of May, we're expecting somewhere between 10 to 30 millimeters of rainfall across coastal regions of South Australia, including Adelaide, Robe, Mount Gambier, Port Lincoln, throughout much of the Eyre Peninsula. At least 5 to 10 millimeters can be expected with potentially heavier rainfall accumulations. Adelaide yesterday actually picked up some really healthy rainfall accumulations with 30 millimeters coming through for Selix Hill, their heaviest rainfall in quite a while. So again, that's very good news indeed for the Adelaide region. They are parched and they desperately need the rainfall, that's for sure. But on that note, I'm going to leave this video here. I do hope you've enjoyed this forecast update. If you found it informative, please do consider subscribing and also leave a like on the video while you're at it. The support lately has been greatly appreciated. That is all from me today, though. A special shout out to the channel sponsors. The names are on screen right now, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.